Well, up first, joining us today is Rick Kirschner and Darren Mercredi. They are here to share about King's Kids Promotions Outreach Ministries and reflections of their own personal stories to help us understand reconciliation and healing in Indigenous communities. Thank you so much for joining us today, gentlemen.
Privileged to be here. Thank you very much, Bill.
Hey, Rick, we'll start with you. Can you just share with us the core mission of King's Kids Promotions Outreach Ministries?
Well, King's Kids has been a 32-year-old Canadian charity, and we exist to bring good to life. Anything we can do to represent our Lord Jesus Christ and helping people in the world, bringing communities together, bringing healing, bringing hope. That's our mission. We're unapologetically Christian, but we want to live out our faith in Christ by serving our communities and serving our brothers and sisters.
Yeah, so what are some of the programs that you run?
Well, King's Kids, we've been around for several years, but some of the initiatives lately, and we're so thankful to have been invited into Fort Chipewyan community with the Lionheart Performing Arts Camp. And the camp is a parent relief program that helps us engage students through the performing arts. So the first time we were in Fort Chipewyan, we were invited by Mikisew Cree Council to do a program at the school. Darren Mercredi invited us up there, and the council he was on, and we were in the school. And at that point, a lady said, you know, some of the children in the community could benefit by a food program. So we took that up and joined arms with the Wood Buffalo Food Bank and started a food hamper program once a month, and that's been 3.5 years. So that's a neat initiative. The greatest initiative the last 4 years has been All Nations Church, as we launched in Fort McMurray, Alberta, and we have some wonderful, partnership in Fort Chipewyan. They watch parties every week, and Darren leads that initiative, and we're so grateful. God just has us doing anything we can do to bring people together. We're going 15 years into our community that we do a community skate every Sunday afternoon. We just serve hot chocolate and invite people to come and participate. Lots of things. We're so grateful for what God's allowed us to do.
Yeah, I love that, because really it is about community, and we transform community by really working together. So Darren, how has your personal journey with Rick's ministry influenced your own personal growth and development?
Yes, thank you. Maybe before I open and share, we talk about truth and reconciliation. Yes. My name is Darren Mercredi. Dansei Nichuagansak Darren Mercredi Nisigasan Fort Chipewyan Ochinia Upsis Nihioan Papiatic Peaksqui. You know, it's so important for our people to learn our culture and our language out of a loving heart. Out of a loving heart. Rick and I go back to about 2009, 2010. When I first accepted the Lord, I was part of a group at one of the local churches in Fort McMurray, and they were doing an outreach program. And I said, it would be nice if you guys came to our community. So our relationship, Pastor Rick's been a spiritual leader, positive role models, and a mentor as I was really new in the Lord. I accepted the Lord in 2010, and it's just amazing what the Lord is doing in our lives, working together to give God all the glory. Rick and I have been working together now for quite a few years, but you see so many people being, so many people in our community being blessed with the love of God, and not just sharing a word of encouragement, a personal testimony. King's Kids Promotion has blessed our community every year, but for the past 5 years, every year is a Lionheart camp, and it's just at the beginning maybe there was a handful of our youth, and now it's just see families coming together participants. Maybe there's a 30 to 40 kids that are participating with their families. So then the neat thing about the line art camp is when you see the kids look forward to it every year, and you see the team leaders working with the youth. So at the end of the week, line art does a performance of what they learned to the community that are interested in coming out, and mostly the parents and the grandparents coming out to watch their kids and learn amazing art through the painting, instruments. It's such a positive impact on their community, especially with our youth, because of the impacts of the residential school. You know, we're in a generation now where our younger generation are growing up in their homes with both parents, with their families. So now we got an understanding of how we could bring things back around, where we can heal from what has happened to our people in the past. And speaking for myself, my father is a residential school survivor. So the things that I had to experience with him, is the things that I had to learn to accept, and also the things that I won't make the same mistakes that my father made. You know, I do my best to be there for my kids. I support them, and we have a good relationship. And that's something that I didn't have because of the effects of the residential school. So I'm really thankful for King's Kids promotion, for the church, our fellowship here in the community. And it's all about love, loving and respecting one another, and to respect people for where they're at. You know, because we all have a story to share, and you know, and it's just walking in God's love.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing your story. It's so powerful, and we want to hear more. We're going to be right back in just a moment with Rick and Darren as they share more about reconciliation and healing in Fort Chipewyan, the community specifically, but how we as a nation can do that together. We'll be right back. Well, thank you so much, Rick and Darren, for being with us here today, and thank you for sharing your stories and what is happening in Fort Chipewyan and Fort McMurray. But really, I want to talk about the nation of Canada as well. And so, from your own experience, the things you're experiencing and the ministry that you're involved with, maybe give us some practical things you see that we as a nation, all those who are watching right now, can do to be a part of truth and reconciliation. How can we heal from our brokenness? So what do you think, Rick?
Well, I think the biggest lesson I'm learning in Fort Chipewyan is to listen to our Indigenous brothers and sisters. They have a story, and it's real and it's legitimate. And though you might not know it from today, from my talking, but learning to listen is the best thing we can possibly do. A beautiful people, a beautiful sense of community that I think the church can learn from. First Nations people, certainly the friends I met in Fort Chipewyan, are beautiful, have intimate relationships, and they have a sense of community that I think we only hope for in the church. Love for one another, care for one another's children, care for a brother. I mean, everybody's got 15 or 20 cousins up there. I know they're not all related by blood. They're cousins, they're family, they're kin. We need to understand that as a church. So I so appreciate the First Nations people. Learn to listen to them. They're kind, they're generous, they're open, they're willing to tell their story. And isn't that how God asks us to be with one another? That we just listen to one another, love one another as Christ loved the church.
Well, I absolutely love that, because we're all really a part of God's story. Every story, every history is a part of God's story. When we listen to each other, we see how He has woven everything together for a really beautiful, powerful story, really of truth and reconciliation. And so, Darren, thank you for sharing your story a bit as well. So what do you see as some of maybe the challenges and some of the triumphs in your journey towards reconciliation, and how have they shaped your community?
Yes, can I ask something? Thank you. I think it's really important that the residential school is brought into the educational systems. because a lot of the things that we learn is not really the things that that understand the impacts of our people. And so if we can get the education system to teach what has taken place in our home communities, I think that's a good start to have that understanding of the impacts of the residential schools, what we still witness today. I think through the knowledge and the stories that we hear from our people in different communities, we have a sense of understanding why things are the way they are today. And so I think through having those tough discussions, for one, but also to having understanding that as individuals we can learn to forgive, meaning that we can heal. And the more that we learn to walk in the love of God through his forgiveness, because the word says that if we are to forgive one another, God forgives us. So I think for when we learn to forgive, we learn to heal. And I think a lot of healing needs to take place amongst our people, and that's to walking in faith.
That is so powerful. And so if you're watching this right now, I do want to encourage you, go beyond just praying about it, learn about it. I think there's something really powerful about that. And the best way to learn is by engaging in relationship and in community. And so, Rick, in just one sentence, what is one thing you want all our viewers to walk away with from our conversation today?
Well, that Jesus Christ is our healer for every people, every nation, every tribe, every tongue. Call upon the name of the Lord. Wherever you are, whatever your religious background has been, those who call upon the name of the Lord shall be rescued and saved out of their calamity, out of their disappointing circumstances, out of their brokenness. He's a gracious, loving God that is willing to open his arms to us and accept us all freely and openly. Put your faith in Jesus Christ, trust him today, and you will see a difference instantly. And I just thank God for his goodness in our life and my family, and God for allowing me to associate with Brother Darren in Fort Chipewyan. And I'm a better man because of those things. Thank God for this opportunity.
Well, thank you for being here today, Darren and Rick. Thank you so much. We are better for this conversation as well. And if you'd like more information about National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, please go to 700club.ca, and that is available to you there.